I'm Jacqueline, and when I think about professional and technical communication around ASU's campus, the example that stands out above all else is the walk-only zones. We all, I'm sure, are extremely familiar with the walk-only zones. They are all around campus, especially in some of the high traffic areas that students travel frequently via foot and via skateboard, bicycle, or rollerblade. In order to convey to students the rules, the guidelines, and just general information about the walk-only zones, professional and technical communication is actually extremely necessary. There are many components of communication that are emphasized when it comes to the walk-only zones, including an institutional component, an educational component, an ethical component, a cultural component, and also a demographic component. Since students are so directly involved and implicated by the existence of these walk-only zones, it is imperative that ASU does a great job communicating all necessary information. Since the walk-only zones impact ASU's population, including students, faculty, and guests on campus, there is certainly a large institutional dimension that is related to the communication of these zones. As stated explicitly on signage around campus as well as on walk.asu.edu, the section of ASU's website devoted to educating students about the walk-only zones, it is clearly stated that these zones are intended to make campus trips safer. In these areas, students must only walk and get off of their bicycle, skateboard, or other device. On the website, it clearly outlines that there is a first-time violation consequence, second-time violation consequence, and third-time violation consequence. By laying these out in a clear manner and creating an institutionalized approach to this matter that affects all ASU students, ASU does a great job of communicating this information effectively and considering all members of the student body. Another important dimension of the implementation and communication of these walk-only zones is the educational component of things. It is extremely important that students, faculty, and anyone on campus understands the purpose of the walk-only zones and what is expected around them. This education is conveyed through signage around campus in the zones that are intended to be walk-only zones. It's also conveyed through enforcers that stand near these zones to ensure that everyone is following the rules, information on ASU's website, and also through bike safety classes and mall driving safety classes that are offered to students. The walk-only zones are enforced Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in certain designated areas. Wheeled vehicles that are not permitted include bicycles, delivery or maintenance or landscaping vehicles, golf carts, hoverboards, roller skates, scooters, segways, skateboards, and any type of motorized or wheeled vehicle. It is clearly stated on the website what is classified and what is allowed, and this information is also conveyed through the other means I previously mentioned. There is also a very important ethical component that comes into play with the enforcement of the walk-only zones. It clearly states on the section of ASU's website dedicated to providing information on the topic that these walk-only zones are not intended to limit or redirect the use of mobility devices that individuals with disabilities need. It's very important that this is conveyed so that no one is offended or confused if they need a device or vehicle in order to get around. It is imperative that ASU conveys this so they are not discriminating or harshly implicating anyone in particular. The entire purpose of these walk-only zones is to ensure that the students are safe. As a university, it is ASU's ethical obligation to ensure that students, pedestrians, faculty, and anyone on campus is as safe as they possibly can be. The implementation of these zones puts everyone's safety first, and through the wording and communication that ASU uses in multiple places, it conveys this ethical responsibility. In an attempt to also not inconvenience any students, there are certain areas of campus that are shared areas. These areas are labeled as well so that pedestrians can keep a special eye out for those on vehicles. On another dimension, the cultural ramifications of these walk-only zones are extreme as well. Tempe and ASU is certainly a college town. Students are concerned with getting to class, and there are bikes, scooters, skateboards, rollerblades, and about 1,000 other different types of different transportation devices around campus. Pedestrians are everywhere, around the roads and on campus. Since the culture of ASU is so centered around this type of transportation, it is good that ASU is in tune with this so that they can effectively enforce these walk-only zones in a manner that is considerate but also safe. A close tie-in with the cultural aspect of these walk-only zones on ASU's campus is the demographic aspect. The primary people on campus at all times are students and faculty. Everything is close by in Tempe, and time is certainly of the essence. The way that this demographic of people operates in trying to get places quickly and efficiently, especially in a crowded area, is important to keep in mind. In conclusion, the walk-only zones around ASU's campus are a prime example of how professional and technical communication is all around us in our daily lives. Whether it's a piece of signage or some information on a website, the goal of communicating this is to inform students and provide this information in a professional and clear manner. ASU does a great job of doing this in a way that is considerate of everyone involved.